Hello, everyone. My name is John from Community Life Church in Catskill, New York, and this is Meals Ready to Eat from the Bible. Please like, subscribe, hit that bell icon to get notified. Facebook, follow us, like us, and everybody, please leave a comment. Thanks. Hey, everyone, and welcome back. Today's episode is God's Choice or My Choice. God gives us the ability to choose whether to follow Him or not. So now our destiny relies on God. It has its very foundation, its very base is based on God. The very underpinning of our destiny is based on what God does, what He chooses, and what He chooses to do with us. Going to look at a couple of scriptures today, same as we looked at last week, and draw more out of them to illustrate this point that God chooses and we get to choose to follow Him or not. Kind of a dual thing there. So let's take a look here. We'll transition over to the two scriptures we have. Genesis 12:1. Let me back up to Ephesians 1:4 through 5. Just as He chose us in Him, see Him making the choice before the foundation of the world. In other words, before anything was made, He chose us that we would be holy and blameless before Him. In love, He predestined us. In other words, He created our destiny to adoption as sons through Jesus Christ to Himself according to the kind intention of His will. That's Ephesians 1:4 through 5. And we see in Genesis 12:1 through 4, again, we're looking at Genesis, we're looking at the life of Jacob. This is Jacob's grandfather, Abraham, and God's laying this foundation, this destiny for Jacob, for Abraham, for Isaac in this beginning of Genesis. So now the Lord said to Abram, "Go forth from your country and from your relatives and from your father's house to a land which I will show you, and I will make you a great nation, and I will bless you, and I will make your name great." I added the I in there. "And so you shall be a blessing, and I will bless those who bless you, and the one who curses you, I will curse. And in you all the families of the earth will be blessed." So listen now. So Abram went. Abraham makes a choice, and he goes. He went forth as the Lord had spoken to him, and Lot went with him. Now Abram was 75 years old when he departed from Haran. So let's go see what God is saying and break this down and try to draw out what's going on here. So to begin with, we see in Ephesians 1, chapter 1, verse 4, the phrase "He chose us." Very, very important phrase because it's an amazing revelation, and it is God who does the choosing, not us. The initial choice, the beginning, the foundation of all this is what God does, and He's choosing us. He picked us out. He selected the time and manner of our birth and the place, and He gave us a path to walk on. All right? But He also gives us the ability to choose to walk on that path or not. That's up to us. We get to choose whether we're going to follow the destiny that He lays out for us. So when we can see this in Mark 1:15, when Jesus begins His earthly ministry. Let me just read this. This is Jesus talking, and He says, "And saying, the time is fulfilled, and the kingdom of heaven is at hand. Repent and believe in the gospel." Repent means to change our mind. I got to change the way I think, change the way I act as a result of changing the way I think. This is up to me. This encounter I have with God changes me, and I get to choose whether to follow God or not. There's consequences for either one of those choices. All right, so now let's see how this plays out in the life of Abraham and our lives. Very important example here. So we see that the Lord said. This verse, Genesis 12:1, starts out with the Lord said. This is action is on God. It's up to God. And God is deciding what to do with Abraham, as he's called later on. So He says, "Go. I want you, Abraham, and I want you, the listener, to go as well." So you get this command from God to go. Abraham had to respond and to go. It says later on, of course, Abraham went, but that command is to go, and we have to decide whether to follow it or not. And it's to the place that I, God, will show you, not the place which I pick, the place which God picks. Abraham had to decide to go to the place God had for him or not. His father Terah chose to go to Canaan, but stopped halfway there in Haran, so he's kind of out of the loop here. He's not part of this, but Abraham, his son, is. And then it says, "I will make." The destiny of Abraham and his grandson Jacob was made by God and walked in by them, And it's the same thing for us. Your destiny, my destiny, is created, is made by God before the foundation of the world. Really an amazing thing. I will bless. We always focus on the blessing we get, but in fact, the focus is on God doing the blessing. The person giving us the blessing is what's important here. So as a result of all this, everyone is blessed. We can see how Abraham's life had a major impact on you and on me and of all of history. And it's the same thing for each one of us. Your destiny, if you walk it out, will impact those around you, will have a major impact. So Abraham went, and we must go too. We must decide to follow God. We must be in that place where we say, okay, God, I'm going to go where you sent me and do what you told me to do. These choices we make, have a wide-ranging impact. Don't ever ignore how important the choices you make, the everyday choices you make, are in the lives of those around us. The things we say, the things we do, how we act, do make a difference in the people around us. So listening to God and obeying God changes our lives, and those that come around, those around us, and those that come after us. And we're responsible for those things. We can't ever say, I know a lot of people say it and they don't mean exactly this, but if we say, I don't care what anyone thinks, I'm going to do what God says, we should care what other people think and do what God says. So listening and obeying God is important. It changes our lives, and we have to remember, He chose you first. He chose me first. He chose us first. So we must follow. Thank you, and we'll see you next week. All right, thanks for watching. You can find us on the web at clchurch.cc. That's clchurch.cc. We meet 10:30 Sunday mornings in 20 West Main Street, Catskill, New York. Hope to see you there, and thanks once again.